For more than 3 decades, one man has stood at the center of power in Iran. Not elected by popular vote, not limited by presidential terms, but positioned above the president, above parliament, above the military. His name is Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran. To his supporters, he is the guardian of Islamic values and the defender of national sovereignty. To his critics, he represents authoritarian control and restricted freedoms. But regardless of opinion, his influence on Iran and the Middle East is undeniable. This is the story of a young cleric who survived prison, revolution, assassination attempts, war, political crises, and rose to become one of the most powerful men in the world. Roots of a revolutionary 1939 to 1960s. Ali Khamenei was born on April 19, 1939, in the holy city of Mashhad, Iran. Mashhad is not just any city. It is one of the most sacred cities in Shia Islam. Religion was not simply a part of life there. It was life. Khamenei grew up in a modest clerical household. His father was a religious scholar, and from a young age, Ali was immersed in Islamic teachings. He later moved to Qom, the intellectual heart of Shia religious scholarship. There, he studied Islamic jurisprudence, philosophy, and theology. But something more was happening in Iran during this time. The country was ruled by Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, a monarch closely aligned with Western powers. His modernization policies transformed Iran's economy and infrastructure, but also created social inequality, political repression, and anger among religious conservatives. For young clerics like Khamenei, the Shah represented foreign influence and moral decline. And so, the seeds of revolution were planted. Opposition, prison, and survival. 1960s to 1979. During the 1960s and 1970s, Khamenei became deeply involved in political activism. He aligned himself with a powerful cleric who would change Iran forever, Ruhollah Khomeini. Khomeini openly criticized the Shah's regime, accusing it of corruption and submission to Western interests. His message spread rapidly among students, clerics, and the poor. Khamenei became one of his loyal followers. For his activism, Khamenei was arrested multiple times by the Shah's secret police. He was interrogated, imprisoned, watched constantly. But prison did not weaken him, it hardened him. He believed suffering for a cause purified conviction. By 1979, the pressure exploded. Massive protests filled the streets. The Shah fled the country. The Iranian Revolution succeeded, and the Islamic Republic of Iran was born. From revolutionary to president, 1979 to 1989. After the revolution, Iran needed leaders, and Khamenei quickly rose through the ranks. He became part of the Revolutionary Council and held key defense roles. Then in 1981, amid political instability and assassinations of senior officials, Khamenei was elected president of Iran. He was only in his early 40s, but his presidency came during one of the darkest periods in Iranian history, the brutal Iran-Iraq War. For 8 long years, Iran and Iraq fought a devastating war that killed hundreds of thousands. As president, Khamenei focused on survival, maintaining internal unity, supporting military mobilization, protecting revolutionary ideology. He was not the ultimate authority. That power remained with Khomeini, but Khamenei proved himself loyal, disciplined, and politically reliable. Those qualities would soon define his future. The unexpected rise to supreme leader, 1989. In 1989, everything changed. Ayatollah Khomeini died. Iran faced a leadership crisis. The body responsible for choosing the next supreme leader, the Assembly of Experts, had to act quickly. Khamenei was not the most senior religious scholar. Many believed he lacked the traditional qualifications, but he had something else: revolutionary credibility, presidential experience, strong political alliances, military trust. After intense deliberation, he was chosen as the new supreme leader of Iran. At just 50 years old, Ali Khamenei became the most powerful authority in the country, consolidating power. Unlike the presidency, the position of supreme leader carries enormous authority. The supreme leader controls the armed forces, intelligence services, judiciary appointments, state broadcasting, major foreign policy decisions. One of the most important institutions under his influence became the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, known as the IRGC. Over time, the IRGC expanded beyond military operations. It became deeply involved in Iran's economy, infrastructure, and regional strategy. Khamenei's leadership style focused on centralization. He rarely appeared impulsive. Instead, he governed strategically, allowing elected presidents to operate, but always keeping ultimate authority. Presidents came and went. Reformists and conservatives alternated, but Khamenei remained. Reform, resistance, and protest. In 2009, Iran experienced one of its largest internal political crises. After disputed presidential election results, massive protests erupted, a movement later known as the Green Movement. Millions of Iranians demanded transparency and reform. Khamenei took a firm stance. He supported the election results and authorized security forces to restore order. The protests were suppressed. For supporters, this showed strength and defense of stability. For critics, it confirmed authoritarian rule. This moment defined how many young Iranians viewed his leadership. Foreign policy and global tensions internationally. Khamenei positioned Iran as a force of resistance against Western dominance. He consistently emphasized independence from the United States. One of the most controversial issues under his leadership was Iran's nuclear program. In 2015, Iran signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, known as the JCPOA, with world powers. The deal limited Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions relief. Khamenei allowed negotiations, but remained cautious. He publicly warned against trusting Western governments. When the agreement later collapsed after US withdrawal, tensions escalated again. Through all of this, Khamenei aimed a consistent narrative. Iran must rely on itself. Leadership philosophy. At the heart of Khamenei's worldview is a doctrine of Velayat-e-Faqih, the guardianship of the Islamic jurist. This principle argues that a senior religious scholar must guide the state to ensure moral governance. For Khamenei, politics and religion cannot be separated. He sees Iran not merely as a nation-state, but as a revolutionary Islamic system that must be protected from internal and external threats. His leadership emphasizes cultural preservation, distance economy, strategic patience, centralized authority. He often frames struggles as ideological battles rather than temporary political disputes. Supporters vs critics. Supporters argue that under Khamenei, Iran preserved its sovereignty, foreign intervention was resisted, regional influence expanded, national defense strengthened. Critics argue political freedoms were restricted, dissent was suppressed, media is tightly controlled, economic sanctions worsen living conditions. The truth, like most leadership stories, exists in complexity. Khamenei's legacy depends heavily on perspective. The man behind the title, despite his immense authority, Khamenei maintains a relatively simple public image. He is known for writing poetry, delivering long religious lectures, meeting families of soldiers, engaging directly with students. Unlike many global leaders, he rarely travels abroad. His power operates mostly within Iran's borders, yet its impact extends far beyond them. The legacy of power, from a young seminary student in Mashhad to a revolutionary activist to president during wartime to supreme leader for decades, Ali Khamenei's life is a story of endurance, ideology, and authority. Whether viewed as a guardian of independence or a symbol of strict control, he remains one of the most consequential political figures of modern Middle Eastern history. His leadership shaped Iran's identity in the 21st century, and his influence continues to define the region's future. If you found this deep dive into leadership, power, and political strategy valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because here at Inspiversity, we don't just tell stories, we explore the mindset behind influence and the lessons hidden inside history. See you in the next journey.